Alright, welcome back everybody to episode 25 of the Mega Park here in OpenRCT. We are continuing off from last episode working on this area, this quadruple sync coaster. I decided to rename the title of my last episode. I forgot what I named it originally. I think I just named it 4-Way Dueling Coaster Part 1 of 2. But I just decided to name it some of the coasters involved in here, and then this episode's called Red Hot Chili Peppers. And guess what? I'm still not done with this area by the end of this episode, so I'm going to be probably continuing it off next episode for like a part 3-ish thing. But yeah, I do have 5 coasters in this area, because I have the air-powered coaster in there as well. But yes, this area is going to take an absolute long time to complete. It's my most wild theming yet, I would say. I'd say most of my coasters in this park so far have like a nice building around the station area, but then the rest of the coaster just kind of has like supports and goes underground and has a bunch of trees around them. This one I decided to like incorporate more buildings throughout the coaster, so just more random structures rather than just like spamming trees everywhere. You know, like building the station area and then just trees all around that. So I did lots of landscaping, and again, I've said this before, but my strategy going into this, probably not the best, because like I'm trying to like landscape and do buildings at the same time, and I gotta try to work like from the middle and then work my way out. But there's like certain areas that I'm like, I really want to work in this area first, and then it's really difficult to like try to pick up the land from right behind it, and no matter what angle that you try to pick it up, you can't see it. So I was struggling a little bit there, but I knew going into that was going to be an issue, but we made it work at the end. But yeah, I think the layout of this coaster is quite unique, because the chain lift hill goes vertical, and it's also the very end of the coaster. So the coaster starts off right away, you know, getting right into the action, but then at the end, it goes to the brake run, and then goes up. And I purposely, the very, very first thing I did in this episode was delete the abstract walls that I had there, because I liked the idea of it, but it just didn't blend in with like the theme that I'm trying to go with, which I'm using most of the North America theming, which is like the bamboo walls, and I forgot the term or what the name of the other scenery set was, but it's all part of the North America pack. So 90% of what I'm using is from that pack. I'm just kind of mixing both together. But yeah, I deleted the abstract walls and put in like the bamboo walls with the windows, and I purposely did a bunch of windows because I really like to see just a sneak peek of the coaster going up the chain lift hill. I don't want it to be completely covered. It's kind of satisfying seeing like the parts of the coaster kind of go up there, and especially having all 4 go up at the same time, because I did time these pretty well, I'd say. But yeah, so I kind of mess around with like the chain lift area, and then I kind of get started with building buildings around the queue path, and then I do have like a bunch of food courts spread around, just because I think the more food, the more bathroom, the more drinks, the better, so guests don't complain about that. So I kind of put some buildings around those as well, and I would say the footpath was a little wacky in this area, but I dig it. I like the randomness. I like the chaoticness. That is my style. I don't really do realism very much, but potentially after this park is completely done, I might do a more realistic approach, a much smaller park that has just like 5 roller coasters and, you know, not 200. I think this is 250 by 250 units, but I don't quote me on that. But I would maybe do a park in the future that's like 60 by 60 or something like that. But yeah, this area is a lot of fun. It was very chaotic, and it just felt like it was never ending. Like I said, I'm still not done. I've never had like a coaster of this park not take more than 1 episode, basically, and this one's going to take 3. But at the same time, I have 5 coasters that I'm building at once, and they're gigantic, so I think it works. But I'm pretty sure I can wrap up the next one, or the rest of this area in the next episode, because I just think a time lapse more than a half an hour would be a bit much, and I rather break it up a little bit more. So this one's more, I'm hoping, under 25 minutes, maybe around 20 minutes. We'll see. I have no idea. But yeah, this area was very interesting. So like, you can see like I had the chain lift hill there, and then I kind of like left parts of it open because I kind of like the idea of seeing the coasters like curve up to the station. I didn't want it completely covered. I do have a habit of, just like most coasters in real life, just to kind of cover up the station completely. Like you can't really see it from the outside. But, you know, I did some wacky stuff here. And like I said, I did a lot of terraforming landscaping in this episode as well. It was quite tricky because I did a lot of the, what's the term? Where like the curved pieces on the coaster that are like there's a lot of diagonals where you can't go from above ground to underground with the diagonal track pieces. Technically you can't unless you do like the cheats and just go through it, but I like the look of seeing the tunnels when it goes from above ground to underground and vice versa. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with like the making the layouts in the previous episode. So yeah, I mess with the North America theme. I do a lot of different random buildings. I try to avoid symmetry as much as I can. A little bit of symmetry here and there is wonderful, but you know, if it's 100% symmetrical all the time, it lacks creativity, I guess. So I try to go wacky, and I go very wacky with my building layouts, not in a realistic approach at all. So let me know what you guys think about it. And then also you can kind of see here that I'm like now finally getting parts of the coaster that I want underground to be underground. I kind of have the visual in mind of what I want it to look like as I built the coaster. Like I knew going in that a lot of this was going to be underground, but now I'm like making sure the layouts are good first, and then when I'm happy with the layout and how things are syncing up, then I will delete parts of the coaster so I can like raise up the land and stuff. So yeah, and as a reminder, all 4 of these coasters are still named after bands, and they're named after bands that have colors in their names. So by the title of this episode, Red Hot Chili Peppers, that is that red coaster right there. And then it's Green Day, Black Sabbath, and Blue Oyster Cult. And then that air-powered coaster is the Bangles. So I had a variety of colors in this area. It's nice and happy and fun colors. At least I think so. I think they all work together pretty well. And at the very end of this episode, I'll put maybe a timestamp if I remember. So feel free to skip to the end if you want to just see what the end product looks like. But I, not in a very professional way, but I kind of show off the coaster in real time and how they sync up. But all 4 coasters leave at the same time. Red and green have fun together. Black and blue have fun together. And then suddenly, at some point, black and red have fun together, while blue and green have fun together, and then all 4 meet up at the very end. So each coaster hangs out with another coaster at least once, which is fun. You know, it's nice not to just have them split apart and do their own thing. That kind of defeats the purpose of a 4-way coaster. But like I said, at the very end of the episode, I'll put a timestamp there if you want to see it. Just kind of showing off the coasters, and I kind of show both parts. I kind of show like the blue and green start, and then the black and blue start as I go. But like I said, this area's not done yet, and you'll be able to tell because half of it's covered in trees, and the other half is not even landscaped really that much yet. But yeah, I thought I haven't really shown off a coaster like that yet, but I had a lot of fun with how these synced up. Yes, and now as you can see here, I kind of am incorporating a little bit of water just to give it some character, and a little bit of waterfalls. This little snug area was a little tricky just because I didn't have enough room. If I were to like go back and redo this coaster, because I kind of knew going in that I might wanted to put a little water in here, I probably would have, after the drop, put just a 1 or 2 flat spaces before it goes back up again, just so then I have more room for like a little stream up above over the drop. But I think it worked out. It was just a little bit of water. I didn't want to go too crazy with it, and I just wanted a little bit of waterfall. So yeah, and then as soon as I add a bunch of trees here towards the end, it really comes together. And then I do texture a little bit more with the color of the grass and the siding. I don't even know what you call the siding. Is it like the like the vertical faces of the land. Like I always picture like the black one to be like rock texture, but it looks like wood. It looks like black wood. Same thing with like the reddish brown. That looks like wood. So I guess they would be black wood, but I always just picture it as like a rocky texture because it works well with the rock landscape color, like the flats for the flat surface. But yeah, I do like the rock texture a lot, especially near waterfalls. It just kind of makes it look like there's random rock formations in the grass. So I dig that a lot. But yes, I do incorporate trees, and I just do a lot of landscaping, and it just was a little tiring. It was because I do one unit at a time. I don't just use the tool to like raise the land all in one go and call it a day. You know, I specifically want each tile where I want it to be. So, and I made this time lapse a little bit longer, or sorry, a little bit faster than I usually do, just because it was like I didn't really move away from this area that much. So I sped it up just a little bit so it wasn't too long. But yeah, like I said, this area was a lot of fun. It's a little tiring, and it's just like, I think this episode alone took about 5 to 6 hours. Yeah. Usually I don't spend more than like 4 on a certain project or a certain area of the park. Sometimes it's like 3 to 4, but this one was like over 5, including last episode was probably another 3 or 4. So I'm probably gonna spend a good 12 hours just on this area. But yeah, what year are we in? I'm kind of looking at my time lapse in the editing program. What does that say? Year 141. Yeah. Plus, I do speed up this game a lot. That doesn't mean I spent 141 hours on this park, but there are certain parts where I have the game paused while I build, and then there's also certain parts where I just let the game sit because it's like, oh, I want to eat some food, so I just let the game sit for like 40 minutes while I go grab a bite to eat. And then there's certain parts where I'm like speeding up the game so much so I can like see how things line up and how coasters run. So I wish it was realistic. I should have like timed how long this has been taking me, but quite a bit. I would say probably on average each episode probably is 3 to 4 hours, so 141 is probably not too incredibly far off, but yeah. So now over here, I'm kind of bouncing around just a little bit here and there on what area I want to work in. And, you know, now that I'm looking at what structure I put in between the 2 loops there on the black and green coaster, I really wanted to try to incorporate some different scenery, but I think it just looks a little bit too out of place there. So I might fix that in the next episode and just kind of continue the bamboo area, like theme with that. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to put like a nice weird structure in the between that, and then like towers on either side. And like I said, I just go really random and chaotic. I don't really have that much of a plan going into it when I build this structure. But yeah, I just grab a variety of scenery and just go to town. You know, I don't have a plan. I have like ideas at the start of it of what I want to do, but like just like when I look at this area, I'm like, what do I do? All right, let's do this, and then I just go for it. Yeah, and then I build another structure around like the diagonal tracks there. That was a little bit tricky, but as soon as I like raise the land above it, or like raise the land around it and kind of make it like a building on top of a hill, it came together. And then as soon as I put trees around it, it really helps. Trees, I will tell you, saves a world of hurt. It saves a world of hurt. But yeah, I just go really random with the structures here. And I think, because this is in the corner of the park, it's also on the edge. Well, duh, that was redundant. But I do want to incorporate possibly a 3rd entrance in this park. My initial idea was to have 4 entrances, 1 on each edge in the center, but I kind of forgot about it. So one edge is already covered by stuff, but right next to this coaster would be towards the center. Not quite, but towards the center. So I might want to incorporate another coaster and then entrance area potentially in the next episode as well. So this might take another 2 episodes to kind of completely finish. But, you know, I want to get the entrance in there so I know like how much room I have, and then maybe squeeze in another coaster there. Because, you know, I'm crazy with the coasters. And And then, yeah, over here, I'm kind of like landscaping near the footpath. I kind of had the idea to kind of make the footpath just a little bit buried between buildings and landscape. And I don't know. And like when I kind of cover it with trees, it's kind of a little hidden. I just kind of like that idea. But yeah, one unit at a time, I'm just raising the land kind of randomly and kind of making it sort of slopey at parts. And I kind of wanted the coaster to snug, to kind of go close to the ground at all times. One of my least favorite things is dealing with custom supports, which I don't usually do anymore, at least in this park. Here and there I do, especially for like wooden coasters, but I generally don't like to add additional supports to coasters. I know that might sound like lazy, but I know they have like the diagonal supports that make it a little bit more realistic, but you know me, I'm not really realistic these days. I just kind of do whatever. But I don't think the supports look bad necessarily. Like the default supports on coasters, they're always straight down, and they don't diagonal outwards. But that's why they made the custom supports option, so then you can make your own custom supports in your own way. And yeah, I did want certain parts of the coaster to be like underground, and you know, I made sure that like when I built the coaster layout initially that they're not always right next to each other. Like I kind of have them like when one coaster goes up, one goes down, but it's at the same time, and then suddenly one crosses over the other coaster, and then I don't know, just the way like the blue and the red coaster like curve together like that, but like one's going up, one going down, one's going up, one's going down. I just really like the look of that. And then same thing with like having like the black and red coaster. Like they kind of go up and down, but they're just a little askew. They're not like directly right next to each other and perfectly symmetrical. And like one's off by just a little bit. I like the look of that a lot. And then like one coaster goes underground for a little bit, the other one doesn't. You know, I made sure not to be like, you know, I like to go a little bit random, and it makes it look a little bit, gives it a little bit more character, I guess. But yes, my gosh, this area's taking a long time. I still did not finish the station area, so that one I just kind of left alone for a while, and then I kind of worked on the rest of the coaster. But yeah, this is a lot of fun. This game is a lot of fun. I like how much creativity you have when building stuff like this. It's very wacky. I still have lots of room in this park. I'd say I'm not even halfway done. I would say this is probably going to take about 50 episodes total. So if you have any ideas of band names, like I said, every title of the episode, if you go through my playlist, every single title is named after the band names of the coasters that I'm building. So if you see a band name that I have not touched, let me actually pull up my spreadsheet right now. I have it bookmarked because I have like, let me look at my list here. 143 potential bands, and I have most of them kind of connected to a certain coaster type that I think would work well. And I kind of touched base on this before, but if you have any ideas, like I know Asia and Europe are both bands, so I think having those being in the same area or even dueling would be sick, and then kind of merging the Europe and Asia theme, that'd be awesome. You know, like I do a lot of 70s and 80s bands. Like I haven't touched the Bee Gees yet. What else have I haven't touched? Cheap Trick. Def Leppard, I don't believe I've touched. Yeah, that one should be fine. Earth, Wind, and Fire would be sick. I think having that be like one coaster, and having like one be Earth colors, I guess. I don't know. Like it would be interesting to see where I go with that. And use like some fire theming. I don't know, Electric Light Orchestra, Foo Fighters, Foreigner, Genesis, Guns N' Roses would be interesting. Kiss, having like a pink coaster. Maroon 5, I know that's more modern, but it's a cool name for a coaster potentially. Matchbox 20, Men at Work, Metallica. I think I definitely need Metallica in here. Nickelback would be funny. Panic at the Disco, Rem, REO Speedwagon. If I use like the wagon cars on the wooden coaster, that'd be fun. The Blues Brothers, the Doobie Brothers, the Doors, the Eagles, the Go-Go's, the Guess Who, the Jackson 5, the Rolling Stones, the Spinners. Using the spinning wild mouse would make sense for that. Yeah, lots of options. But now here we go. I'm finally kind of showcasing the coasters here. So like red and green are together, and then all 4 drop here at the same time. Very satisfying. The blue one's just a little bit ahead, but that makes it look more fun. And then the blue goes up, red goes down. They're matching up again. Red and blue are still hanging out. Black and green are still hanging out. And then red and blue turn. And then red and blue split off. And now blue's gonna hang out with green a little bit and they're hanging out at the same time. And then meanwhile, red and black are on the opposite side, like I showcased earlier. And then they go through a few hills towards the end here. This area I still have to clean up a little bit. And then all 4 coasters around the same time. Black is just a little bit behind, but I might have to slightly adjust the layout at some points for that. But we'll see. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next episode.